Hello.
Sweet.
Don't know why I'm not on video anymore. Just my voice.
And
Did you
Eric's
hit?
turned.
Oh, sorry.
There it is.
Is that better?
Yes.
Sweet.
Otherwise, I'd be doing this to
Yeah.
talk to you.
Get a kink in your neck doing something like that.
Okay, so as long as we've got this broadcast going, it should be recording.
No, I think you need to hit record somewhere because it just says live,
No,
but there should be something. No?
when she started it, it's automatically recording.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm missing button
Is it-
still.
It like sent a notification to me before I answered saying that it would be recorded live. So
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay. It's so different from the way it used to be. It was really easy.
Hi, Vanessa.
Everything was great. Hi. Perfect. So we are live. So Susan, thanks so much for figuring that out for us.
Oh, I just followed directions. You guys are great.
Well, you did great. You made this all possible. So being that we are a few minutes in already, and I apologize, but at least we got it right. So I think since this is our first time meeting, maybe like a quick introduction about ourselves, if you guys are okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll start. So I'm the leader of the week, and my name is Vanessa, and I'm from Brazil. That's where the accent comes from. and I live in Utah, in San Diego. I'm a senior in healthcare administration. I'm hoping to graduate next April. I think I kind of talked to you guys about it. Doing number 4, survival of the fittest in this house. You just gotta figure a way in the family. So anyway, so I've been married for 13 years, and I have 3 girls, and soon to be 3 girls and a little boy. 8-year-old girl, 5-year-old girl, 2-year-old boy, and a soon to be baby girl. So yeah, basically that's me. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So I'm also from South America. I'm from Chile. So I have an accent as well. And I have 4 already.
Nice.
4 kids already. I'm also majoring in healthcare administration, so I want to hear about your internship and what you're planning for that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also live in Utah in Pleasant Grove, so I'm in the other valley. And I am a senior as well, but I only take 2 classes at a time, so I have 3 or 4 semesters left.
Okay.
So that's me.
Oh, nice to meet you, Margaret.
Nice. Thank you.
Anybody wants to go next?
Sure, I'll go. I'm Susan Williams. I am not from South America, but I have a missionary in South America. He is serving in Trujillo, Peru, and I love being able to hear from him every Monday. I am a mom of 4. I am studying, and I'm going for an interdisciplinary degree, business management, with an emphasis in human resources and public health. I'm a junior, and I'll be a junior for another 3 semesters before I even hit senior, because I'm also going part-time.
Yeah, I was a junior forever. This is the first semester that I see senior on my thing.
But it's great to see progress, though. It's great to see progress.
Yeah, but I was really excited.
I can't hear anything, but I guess I'll go next. So I'm Eric Van Every, and I am currently living in Rexburg, Idaho. I live like half a mile from the campus up here, so nice and close. I'm originally from not South America, but South Idaho. And I've been married for just 2 years, and we have a cute little baby boy. He's about 6 months old now. And I'm majoring in agribusiness management. So that's where this class comes in. It deals with the business side of my degree. So
Nice, Zane. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you, Eric.
yeah, nice to meet you guys too.
Okay, Zane's turn.
All right. Sorry for my delayed response. My internet's being weird. So I'm Zane, and I live in Spokane, Washington. Pretty much been in Washington my entire life. I've lived in Idaho and Arizona for a couple years. I have 4 kids. I'm a junior, and I'm also going for healthcare administration. And yeah, we actually just moved to Spokane, so I'm currently been renovating a house. So that's taken up most of my time, so I'm trying to balance that and school and everything, so it's been pretty crazy.
Yeah, I
So
hear
we all
about
have-
that.
So
Yeah.
Eric, you need to have 3 more babies, and then everybody has 4.
Yeah, working on it.
Take your time.
Yeah.
And another reason why I usually only take 2 classes. I've only taken 3 classes. This is the second time I've taken 3 classes, like 9 credits, which for me, with everything that I have, it's like, it gets pretty,
Yes.
you guys know how it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the only reason I'm kind of pushing this is because next year, my life will be like, we're going to be building a house too, Zane, and it's going to be crazy. So I just want this out of the way so I don't become the mommy monster. I just want to. So anyways, but it's great to meet you guys. I'm excited to, seems like you guys are all a bunch of great people, and I'm excited to get to know you guys better and work with you and get a super sweet A on this class. So if anybody has any questions about the assignments, or if you don't have any questions, we can just kind of just jump into it, and I'll try to lead the conversation. But I really hope that we can all participate, and it's not like just me talking, hopefully. But I'd love to maybe share my opinions and hear your opinions and see what we can bring out of this little case study that we got with the row team. So it's going to be that Army rowing team, the varsity and the junior. So have you guys read the case?
Yes.
Yeah, I read through it.
Okay. So I thought, just to get started, I thought it was pretty interesting, the whole, how everything, well, even the strongest guys didn't necessarily make a difference. They were actually holding back, so I thought holding back the varsity team. So I thought that was pretty remarkable to see how much individuals can make or break the team. But we'll get to it. The leader section on this assignment is actually broken down into 5 parts. So I'm just going to jump into part 1 and see if we can just jump into the conversation and see why does the varsity team lose to the junior team, to the JV team? Is it junior varsity? Junior
Yes.
varsity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mhm.
Lack of teamwork. They don't trust each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of underlying things. They definitely don't trust each other. There's a lack of communication, and animosity and anger directed at each other.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it all goes back to how I talked about a big part in this kind of competition is the psychological aspect behind it. And if like your mind and if you're just not in the game mentally, you're not going to be able to perform like they should have been able to.
Well, it's interesting that if they were tested individually or tested in 1 and 2 groups, or sorry, not 1 and 2 groups, but 2 team members and then 4 team members, the varsity team would still beat the JV team. But when they were trying to work as an 8-member team is when the issues, when they couldn't beat JV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they really just
I
don't.
think it has a lot to do with the varsity team. They were selected because they were supposedly the best based on the testing that was done. So that's all they had to go on is, oh, they were already the best. They didn't have anything to prove. Whereas the junior varsity, their slogan was "There's nothing to lose." They had something to prove, so they went out and did it. Whereas the varsity team, they were already the best individually, so they didn't really worry about being the best team.
So the best individuals together didn't necessarily make the best team. That's
Yeah,
kind of like
exactly.
the
Did you
concept.
guys read that for your consideration on the things about women in a group and how
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't matter that the individuals are very bright, but as soon as you put a woman in there, they perform better. I thought that was interesting.
Well, there's a song about that too. You put a girl in the middle, right? Is it Reba McEntire? It's a country song. I'm not a country fan, but my husband is. But it's basically the guys. It's what Brooks and Dunn singing, and with Reba McEntire, and it's basically like you put a girl in the middle, and then everything just become better.
Yeah.
But the best individuals or the most talented individuals, they may perform great by themselves. Like just those, like the pairs that were running against each other, and the varsity pairs would consistently beat the junior team. But that doesn't make those guys individually, they don't make the best team necessarily. Just a quick, just kind of, there's a couple of things that he wants us to talk about. The assignment wants us to talk about is that scholars identify 2 types of team conflict. One is task conflict, where people disagree about the task to be accomplished. And then there's the affective conflict, where people have interpersonal conflict, where people get frustrated and angry with each other or with one another. So, do you think which one of those 2 conflicts do you guys think was going on in the varsity team?
The second.
The second one. I agree. And then do you think that either one of those conflicts, do you think they're necessarily a bad thing, or can they sometimes be a good thing?
If they can work through the issues, I mean, I think the varsity team still has the potential of being really good if they could get through, their lack of trust and their criticism of each other.
Yeah.
They all feel like they're the only one that performing.
So, but basically, can conflict, either if it's a task conflict where you disagree on the actual task, or effective conflict is where you have those, personal conflicts with personalities, or you get frustrated or angry. These kind of conflicts, can they actually help, or are they? I mean, I guess the answer for me personally is that conflict is not necessarily a bad thing.
Mhm.
I don't think, especially in a team environment.
I agree with that. I mean, conflict, I mean, that's why we have trials, they help us find our weaknesses, and if we're humble enough, we can get better. And conflict, we always find conflict with people, and we need to learn how to live with them and resolve those conflicts. And then what we learn from it makes us that much better in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree too with that. Just the fact that we all have our different opinions and we have all our differences, but if we use all those differences together and put them together and make us it can make a team stronger if you have an open heart about things and an open mind and see those differences and use those differences, if that makes sense.
Well, and if you read the differences between how the JV reacted to troubles in a run versus how varsity reacted to troubles in a run, JV looked at it as a global problem. They didn't point out specific individuals, whereas varsity was very critical of specific individuals. And didn't focus on the task and how to make the task better. They focused on berating, if you will, each other for their flaws.
The way I see it, because we're talking about two different things here, you're talking about conflict, which was rampant in the varsity team, but the junior varsity team, they were overcoming conflict. So while yes, we're all going to have conflict and trials and that, like you're saying, it's different when you overcome those. So I don't think that you can do well while you're experiencing the conflict. It's if you can overcome that conflict is when you succeed.
Yeah, but even JV, so winning a race isn't necessarily overcoming a conflict. They figured out somehow at some point to work together and to have, how do I put it? Constructive criticism type moments, an ability to focus on.
That's what I was saying with overcoming the conflict.
Right, and they're working towards overcoming the conflict, but the skill set of the varsity team in being able to overcome the conflict wasn't there.
Right.
So if we were, one of the things that was mentioned by the coach was when he looked at the varsity team, there didn't appear to be a leader. There appeared to be a group of followers. And I have to wonder if the JV team were multiple leaders, but the type of leaders to be able to take criticism and to build on that rather than allow that criticism to break them down, which appears to be what the JV or the varsity team did. That if they received criticism, it brought them lower. It didn't encourage them to achieve.
And it was interesting too that the model for the junior varsity was we have nothing to lose. Remember that part on the text?
Mm-hmm.
Like we had nothing to. So it's the mentality is we're gonna do the best we can and we're gonna try, and if it doesn't work out, I mean, I'm not saying that that's always the right mentality, but for that particular team, and I thought it was amazing for that coach. I think this is a true story. I don't know, but
I know. I hope we find out what the resolution is.
yeah, the coach. I thought he was really brave at first, really smart to just to do analytics, analyze the situation with data, with consistent testing, and then draw his conclusions, and then make a decision based on data. Like, okay, I'm going to take the top 2 rollers from the varsity, the 8 vote team. I'm going to take the strongest guys, the fastest guys, and I'm going to take them out because we realize that and I'm going to put these younger guys, or, the junior varsity guys, the elite team, basically, for the competition. I mean, to me, that's what a leader is all about. You sometimes take risks. I mean, that was a risk. If that didn't work, I mean, his job would be on the line, I'm assuming. But he used data that he collected. He had other coaches or, in his staff to probably collaborate with. And he made a decision. And he owned it up, whether it was a success or whether it was a failure, he's like, I'm going to give this a try. So it's pretty remarkable. Anyways. So moving right along. So about the rivalry between the 2 boats. So how did the rivalry between the 2 boats influence the varsity's performance? Like faster times if they had only practiced alone? What do you guys think? Having to compete with each other, basically, with that, if they didn't have that university to compete with, do you think they would have faster times if they didn't,
Well, I think in
compare their.
the story it talks about how the varsity team kind of resented losing to the JV team. So I think they may have actually done better without the JV team because it fueled their anger about losing somebody that they're supposed to easily beat.
It's the ego too, huh? Like you got something to prove now. The junior varsity is beating me? Like, no, I don't think so. So, do you think that in an organization, within an organization, is it harmful to maybe fostering competition between teams? You guys, I'm not working at this point besides my own home. So if you guys have specific examples from your jobs or previous, jobs or whatever, that you want to add to the discussion, that would be great. Like, have you ever been in a situation where teams are competing against each other? And was that a good experience? Was that a bad experience? What do you think?
I think there's such thing as a healthy competition within a workplace. Because with my example, I'm working on campus right now, and I fix the sprinklers, and there's a couple guys that I work with where we kind of have this competition where we see who can fix the most sprinklers within the day. And I think it's good to a certain degree, but I've also noticed that like sometimes I try to work faster than I should, and so then the job doesn't get done as well as it could have been if I would have just took my time, if that makes sense.
It does.
Well, and then you throw into that with the sprinklers, it really depends on what kind of situation you come across as to how quickly you can get those sprinklers repaired. My ex and I owned a landscape company, and it could be because someone took an aerator across a line, and so you're going to have to dig down to be able to find the leak and repair that. And so there could be some frustration and animosity that could be generated if someone is ahead of you because they got this simple fix.
Yeah.
So as long as it's a fair competition, I think it's a good competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Which it was totally fair between the JV and the varsity. I mean, it's a fair competition. They have the same tools, to succeed.
I worked in high school. I worked at Marie Callender's, and so some of the competitions stemmed with, trying to get people to sign up for, say, the club card, and so hostesses and waitresses would see who could convince, if you will, or invite and have people partake of the opportunity to participate in purchasing these club cards for purchasing pies over a period of a year. Simple. You just have to step outside your box a little bit and ask someone if they're interested in it. And there were monetary benefits on the other end where, the top seller of those got $50 or something like that. In my experience, that was healthy. It was fun and engaging. But I could, even thinking back on it, see how someone who works maybe at breakfast time or at lunchtime trying to compete with, say, a dinner hour waiter or waitress or hostess, it would be more difficult to come up with buyers because there are less people that come at lunch and at breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my experience. I haven't really had too much as far as competition within the workplace recently.
Okay, but I think we all kind of agree that it can be a healthy thing and productive thing. It can actually encourage people to perform better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So
um,
why do you feel that? So on the JV side, they probably felt like it was a healthy competition because
mhm.
they were winning. As Zane said, they were overcoming, the conflict, and varsity wasn't. Why? Where did these two teams just divert as far as their mentality in relation to this competition?
That's what the coach is wondering. What went wrong? Why? Because
Yeah,
obviously they didn't start with animosity against each other from the start. I don't know. I don't know.
I think in our
it's
story, that's
funny.
one
It's a
big piece we're
tricky.
missing is the reaction of the coach. We don't see, we kind of see what he's doing behind the scenes, but we never hear his side of what he's telling the varsity team when they're losing or how he's reacting, because how your leader reacts really defines the health of that competition.
That's a good point.
And it's a tricky balance too, because especially in any team, but especially in this sport, it seems that you have to have the right balance of individual effort or individual talent, and also, think as a group. But I maybe you guys remember it from the text. It said something about how the coach, well, how you're not supposed to, when one of the rowers make a mistake, you don't try to overcompensate. You just
Keep doing what
keep
you're
you
supposed
keep
to.
on, exactly, you keep doing what you're supposed to. You don't try to overcorrect or to do anything different. So it's a tricky balance because even in businesses environment, in the workplace, I mean, sometimes you have to think as a team, most of the times, but there is also the necessity for you to keep doing your job the best way you can and kind of have that focus too. So tricky balance. Just moving along to part two, and that now we're gonna just we kind of talked about the coach, but just kind of wrap up that conversation about the coach. What do you guys think the coach should have done differently? There's a couple of questions for us to think about. Do you think that the Coach P, should he what should Coach P have done differently earlier in the season to resolve the problem?
Well, we
You guys
don't
see?
know if there were any team bonding type events, team strengthening events. I'm I'm reminded of my daughter who's a cheerleader and how many times they have done just non cheer events, going to just play together, just to
Hmm.
experience positive outside the mat, if you will, and outside the field time together. And actually, going back to what Zane said about the coach, we don't know the types of things that he expressed to his teammates
Hmm.
and how he expressed them. But again, going back to my daughter, there is some criticism going on against her coach right now because she brings down those that are struggling and positively reinforces those who are doing well, but there's not enough positivity across the board. There's a great deal of negative used against those who are not doing well, and that could be an example of what's going on in the background with the coach, and we just don't know.
Made much of his attention to the varsity team, thinking, oh, these are the best guys, these are the most qualified, so these are the guys that I'm just assuming will be the best team. Maybe he just kind of overlooked the potential problems, or never thought that there would be a problem when you select the best and you put them
Right there.
together. You just think, oh, that's a winning team, so we're done, we're set. Maybe lack of planning a little bit. I don't know. Any other ideas?
The only thing I can think of is like in the text, it was saying something about like on their in the off season, like they work on their performance like individually, and maybe like they like as the team members they could have like worked together on the off season to like make sure that they can work as a team instead of just like focusing on their individual performance. I think it's good to focus on your individual performance, but it's also important to focus on the team performance too.
It's that
and-
tricky balance we talked about.
And you can't have a team trusting mentality the first time that an individual complains about a team member in an inappropriate way. That just creates and frustrations. And I think one of the questions on the assignment was, at what point should the coach have stepped in? Right then, there should have been an absolute, you will not knock down your other teammate. You will raise each other up.
I think from the beginning there should have been some team bonding experiences, you know, for the guys to support each other. I don't know that they did any of that.
And I don't know,
working hard
I don't
individually.
know if I understand that the Atlanta, and when they met in Atlanta, I'm not sure that wasn't really at the beginning of the season, was it? That was kind of like halfway through it. Isn't it? You know, on the Atlanta when they were practicing on the Olympic venue and all of that, they had that sort of bonding, but maybe it was like you were saying, Margaret, it should have been done maybe something like that at the beginning of the season instead of halfway through it. I don't know. But now let's focus on the on this at this point in our case. What do you think Coach P should do now? Like what? So the question is due on Tuesday. Like what do you think Coach P should do on Tuesday? And I believe that's when, is that right when before the event happens? Is that what is it?
Yeah, so we have to so these are the options. There's a page that says what to do, and there's 3 options. You think we need to pick one of those for this answer?
Yeah, it's the switch varsity and junior varsity boats. 2 is switch individual boat members, and 3 is intervene to improve the varsity boat's performance.
I honestly don't think there's enough time to turn around the varsity team. I think he needs to just switch the boats, make JV varsity, and like it's been done in the past. I don't know, because of the time that is left. Maybe if it was earlier in the season.
Well, yeah, and we're talking collegiate, right? We're talking collegiate competition. We're talking a military university, and
Sorry, I get my phone.
said for winning. I'm sure that this coach is concerned about being able to retain his job, and so that's got to play a component into his decision making. I would agree with you in that he should switch to teams. Varsity becomes varsity and varsity becomes JV. If there was time, it'd be great to
if they switch those two rowers that he identified as like pulling the team back, when he tested pulling those two, which those were 2 rowers that had what is it called, like the pure strength, or they were the strongest rowers,
right?
And when they subbed those 2 out, and then
True, JV did it even better. Yes,
the varsity team then became better. So maybe it's not necessarily that the junior varsity is a faster team, because they are not, just work better. Now, if the junior varsity, it competes against, more technical and more put together teams from other schools, from other colleges, they will lose. That's what I'm thinking. In my
Yeah.
mind, I'm like, they're going to lose. So he needs to get those top rowers, the ones that do well together, and take the two out.
You know what?
That are
I think
pulling-
the way I understood that, what you're saying though, was that he put two varsity into the JV, and then the JV did even better. I don't remember ever reading about varsity doing better.
Well, I thought that's what I understood, that the varsity did better once those two varsity rowers got out of the team and were substituted, and then and because they said, I think it's, or is it? Well, I think it was still in the Atlanta testings that he was performing. He after doing the pairs and all of that. Well, that's what I understood,
Yeah, but-
anyways.
Further on into the season, it's on page 9, it says, the rower sent down was indeed better than the one moved up by the varsity, however, again confirming the initial placement. This defeated the purpose of trying to improve the varsity vote by switching members with the JV.
Right. It's on page 9. Yes.
And JV didn't want to move up, and varsity certainly didn't want to move down.
Yeah, that was the final experiment, it says here, where he moved some JVs to varsity and varsity to JV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it says here that the JV actually did better.
and it says this
Because
inevitably
they had
led
stronger
results.
rowers.
But you know what, Margaret? I think your idea, you know, if you were the coach, to just switch out. Okay, so the junior varsity is now the varsity. I mean, that would be a very, I mean, I would actually, you know, it would take a lot of courage from you too to do that. And so I think it might sound a little crazy, not crazy, but you know what I mean? Like, no, you don't take the varsity team, but it may work out, and it may be that the junior varsity, because they work so much better together, the way that they are set up, maybe they will, you know, have better results than the varsity would. You know, maybe it is too late for the varsity team. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah, but that's a good idea too. Like you know, you'd have to really stick to your decision, because it would probably shock a lot of people, don't you think? Like, what are you doing? You're switching the varsity for junior varsity?
Yeah.
So what's the male perspective on this problem?
Yeah.
What to do?
You know, I think he started right when he was asking the guys to come up with their own solution. You know, and he needs to give them that time. You can't say one day, okay, you guys come up with the solution to your problem, and then the next day say, well, I'm going to change and just switch it right now. I think he needs to follow through, let them come up with the solution. If they perform better after that, since he gave that option, then
Right?
that's something to consider. If they can't come to a decision, then the choice is simple: switch the teams.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait and see, and then make the decision based on what they came up with.
Yeah.
Well, I have now this little link that I want to send through the message. See if you can get that. And I want to give you, you know, like, I think we can all read that within 5 minutes or so, to go skim through it and then have a quick discussion on that. If you guys want, did you see the link I sent from cnnmoney.cnn.com?
I'm not
I'm
seeing
not
anything.
seeing it now that we are in a different thing.
You sent
On
it
the
through.
Hangouts, on the Hangouts message window.
I actually found it in my Gmail, where the invite was for the Google Hangouts. That's where I found it.
Well, this is, yeah, the link.
Mhm.
This is just a link for that's also on the assignment real quick that we talked to each other about. It's a Fortune article on what Coach P did.
Oh, you did find what he
And
did.
yeah, so I guess we're gonna find out.
Okay.
If you guys can't find that,
Can you go to
the
that
mess-
conversation on your computer like the conversation we were having before, like where all our Gmails are listed. I'm looking at that.
Okay.
Can you get to that and send it?
On the Hangouts.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too.
Yeah.
The messages.
That's where I clicked on the messenger. Yeah.
That or
Let me
there's also a
wanna
group
see.
chat here.
Oh, the
in
only
that.
person I see there is I
Let's-
see Eric and Zane there, but I don't see Vanessa or
Let's see if
Oh.
you can see.
there.
There it goes.
I got it.
Okay, you got it.
Mhm.
So let's give each other about, we can
Couple
all
minutes.
mute. Yeah, mute, or if you want to close out your camera, that's fine. Let's come back in 5.
Oh yeah, that's super short.
Okay, sounds
It is
good.
pretty short. Already read through it.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and mute my microphone, and I will come back within 5 minutes.
Mm. Margaret, what do you think?
Wow. It doesn't tell us that that's what they did on the case, but that's pretty interesting.
Well, I'm just imagining a challenge that we just recently had in primary, and we're a group of women. Let's us 4, 8 women decide that we're going to wrestle each other to be able to resolve the issue. I don't think it would work the same way.
No, but these are men.
So we're all
Got it out
good
of their
to come
system.
back
It
on.
sounds like they just got it out of their system and saw they can't beat each other up. So
But
Well, they
sometimes
sure
that's how
don't.
the male brain, it's exactly sometimes what the guys need, is to just kind of, I don't know, go physical and unleash whatever is, bothering them. And then, it works it out. I think the key point for me in this is knowing your team, knowing that, the people that you're working with. Obviously, this is a bunch of young athletic guys with a lot of,
steam.
exactly.
That's a good word to
So
use.
in this case, that's exactly what the varsity team needed, was to vent it out physically, doing maybe like we thought at the beginning, oh, let's do team bonding or this and that.
Yeah,
Maybe
women.
for that team, group of guys, it would have been nice, but it wouldn't address the point or get to the point. What do you think?
Yeah, it says here, yeah, you got to know the team and what will work for them. And he obviously knew that's what they needed.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It says bringing here on the end, it says bringing tensions out into the open is one of the most important jobs of a team leader. Well,
So
talk about the
hopefully,
problem.
one day we're going to be leaders in our organization or in some capacity. So from this conversation tonight, I'm just kind of trying to, wrap it
I
up.
think, yeah. Well, anyway, I was just going to say this is a great
Oh.
tool for parenting
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
for all of us, whatever position we end up in. It's just a good lesson.
I apologize if it sounds like I interrupted. It's just that sometimes there's like the audio cuts off. So
Yeah.
for me anyway, so I apologize. I don't mean to cut you
No.
off, Margaret.
No, you're fine.
But just so we can kind of think as a conclusion for this discussion, what are some of the things that we learned tonight that you think personally were really important to you? Like maybe 2 or 3 points tops that you can maybe think of you using it when you are in a leadership position where conflict arises and you have to resolve it.
Know your team. I think that's very important to know them, know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like Zane's response of, this coach has said, he's put it in the teammates' corner. Come back to me tomorrow with a solution. And then as Zane said, let's let the coach give them that time before making, the decision for him. I don't know that the teammates actually came with the solution of we're going to wrestle it out. I think the coach kind of may have added that to the situation. I think, all right, so one thing that I would say that I learned as a potential leader was certainly you have to give time for things to, I don't want to say come to a head, but build, and then you have to give time to figure out a solution. You can't instantly punish someone, if you will, and you have to set a decent timetable to be able to resolve the problem.
And like you said, let them come up with solutions as well. They are part of the team. I think it's important to let them get involved in the resolution.
And maybe not be afraid to try even the crazy ideas, to just listen them out and let people know that it's okay to brainstorm and let your imagination or problem solving skills kind of be free to try or discuss anything, to have that open communication. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Is I think what I got from this is that communication is really important, that you're open with the people that you're working with, and that there's communication happening between the people that you're in charge of, so to speak. So I just think it all comes down, well, it doesn't all come down to, but one big part is communicating and letting each other know that, like, if you have a problem, try to work it out between each other. And one way you can do that is through communication, just simply talking to the person.
Wonderful. That's great. And what about you, Zane? Any final thoughts on what you learned or what you would take into a leadership role from this discussion?
Well, I think it's interesting that the coach took a lot of time. He knew about the issue the entire season, and he was looking at performance issues, metrics, stats, looking at everything about individual guys, and he, noticing some of the psychological aspects, but it didn't seem like there was a discussion that took place until the very end, and that's when the resolution came through. So, kind of like what Eric was saying, that communication didn't seem like he communicated effectively with the team. He knew there was an issue, and he was doing something about it, but behind the scenes, you need to be more proactive and interactive with your team instead of trying to figure it out on your own.
That's great. Now the last part is kind of awkward questions, but basically feedback from you guys on how I did as leading this discussion. Anything that I could do better next time, that you would probably do or avoid the next time. Any open and honest. I don't get offended. So any feedback that I would appreciate from my tonight's role that I had as a leader.
You did great.
Yep. No concerns. I think you did a good job of asking everybody their individual opinion and guiding us in the discussion based on what we were supposed to resolve, what answers we were supposed to come up with. It would have been great and technology is a challenge across the board. It would have been great if it could have started right at 9 o'clock, but that
Yeah.
the only way
But that was, first meeting.
right, and really the only way to ever figure out that it wasn't going to work out was to have this first meeting. So
So I guess I'm a little hamster, the lab rat,
Yes,
so
you
I
are.
apologize for that.
thank you for being that guinea pig and for
Yeah.
leading this guinea pig to get the live chat going. So
Okay, so can we decide on for next week? Can we decide on who would like to take this on to discuss?
I'll do it.
Margaret?
Yeah.
it's
Sounds
easy.
great. So just remember, let's try to start right at 9 o'clock.
And let's
Right,
talk about
is
the doohickeys case next time as well. See how we can apply what we learned this week and next week.
Okay.
And is it possible maybe to do it Wednesday night after our meeting with Brother Bonnie, or to do it Thursday night? And the reason why I ask is it might be good to have some guidance from him in his weekly meeting as to what we're supposed to be addressing or specific topics that we're supposed to be addressing. I don't know. Does anyone else think that way?
Are you thinking maybe either keeping at 9 o'clock, because his meetings are at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays?
8 to 9.
So
Right.
we could meet right after that if that maybe, I don't know if it's going to be like an overkill, too many meetings in one night, or we can meet on Thursday the next day and kind of soak in information from Wednesday from Brother Bonnie.
Yeah, Melanie said Thursday didn't work for her though.
Oh,
And it is kind of nice to get it done. I like getting it done earlier in the week
Okay.
as well, for whoever's
Yeah.
in charge is easier.
so yeah, I'm okay.
Tuesdays,
At 9 o'clock.
I'm
really
super
any-
busy, but I can make it work if it works okay.
And
make
like
it
I
up.
said, 9 o'clock for me is the time, any day of the week, as long as it's around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then we
me
have
too.
everybody in bed.
That's how I am too.
Yeah.
So so Margaret, what would you like to do then next week? What day of the week would you like to meet?
Should we try Wednesday and see if that works? Okay. Or
Okay.
I mean,
I'm okay with it.
tell me, everybody make your opinion. Is it too much? Too many meetings one night?
I can do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, me too.
Okay, let's try Wednesday then, and then we'll see if we want to keep Wednesday or Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll plan on that. I'll go ahead and I'm assuming Susan. So I guess we're gonna post this on the Google community on our.
If we're supposed to do, that's what I'll do. I will most likely not be able to do it tonight. I actually have to jump off and start a CAP sim for one of my classes.
Okay. If
But I
you
will-
share the link with us, I can even post that. I can make a post tonight.
Okay.
If you email me the link, once you finish the recording, it will give you an option to just kind of like the video that we shared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just send
The
that to
introductory
me, and I'll
video.
go ahead and I'll share that on the
Okay.
community, and I'll go ahead
can-
and finish the leader assignment, and you guys are all good to go. And that's basically what we needed to do this week
Perfect.
Sounds great. Good chatting with you
as
all.
far as the group. Nice
Yeah.
meeting
Nice
you
to
all,
meet you all.
and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Okay.
See ya.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.